Okay, we're on section 1.3. There's some stuff at the beginning of this section that I'm not going to quiz you on, but I just think it's kind of important. They talk about this guy, this old guy. Are you looking on page 10? Do you have your book open? If you look at page 10, there's a picture of this real old-looking guy. And he goes back to 300 BC. That means 300 years before Jesus was walking the earth, okay? His name is Euclid. And you spell it like this with an E. Euclid. And he goes back to 300 BC. And he's the one that came up with this geometry stuff that we're doing in here. All right? That was a long time ago. That's 300 years before Christ was born. So he's your problem. So don't take it up with me. Take it up with this guy right here, Mr. Euclid. All right? And we actually call this geometry that we're doing. Does everybody listen now? Thank you. We call this geometry. It's named after Euclid, but they call it this. It's Euclidean geometry. We're not going to go into any history on Euclid or anything like that, okay? I just want you to understand the name. So if somebody says, oh, what do you study in high school? Euclidean geometry? Like, nah, I'm in CP geometry. It's what they mean is it's the type of geometry. There's kind of different types of geometry, but this is like the main one, and it's called Euclidean geometry, and it's named after this guy, Euclid. All right, so that's pretty much all I want to talk about there. Now we've actually had the first three things that we talked about were point, line, and plane. Were they definitions? Did we put a definition for point, line, and plane? We did? You sure about that? Check your notes.
Yeah,
Do you?
I know it's right there. Walk around.
Well, you didn't take notes properly then, because I said that they did not have definitions. They had descriptions. What did I say they were? They were what terms? They were undefined terms. So we didn't have any definition technically for them, okay? So, let's see. So, we're going to learn a bunch of different things throughout the year. The first thing, we had undefined terms. Okay, I'm not going to write them down because you already took them in your notes. So undefined terms. And that was point, line, and plane. And then we had some definitions. We had... Finished? Why do you look confused? Because you were talking while I was talking. You shouldn't look confused. You should know exactly what you just did. Okay. So undefined terms. The second thing is we learned some definitions. All right, and we'll be learning more definitions throughout the whole entire year. I will never on a quiz or a test say, define this word, and you have to memorize the definition and write it down. Some geometry teachers do that. I don't do that. Just know what the words mean, okay? And because we're going to be using them a lot. What are some of the definitions we did? We had like collinear, right? What's another one? Coplanar. We had like non-coplanar. We had skew lines. We had parallel lines. We had all kinds of stuff like that, correct? So those are definitions. Today, we're going to learn 6 of them, I think, things that are called postulates. Okay? So we're going to learn some postulates today. So a postulate is something that's accepted without proof. You don't have to prove it. It's just accepted without any proof. There are things that you have to prove. Okay, you don't have to prove postulates. It's just an accepted fact. We just believe it because Mr. Euclid said it was true. We believe it. Plus, you could do... Anyway, just worry about that. There are some things that you have to prove. So postulates are accepted without proof. You may want to write that down. Postulates, they're statements in geometry that are accepted without proof. The next thing... Oops, there we go, are called theorems. Now, if postulates are statements that are accepted without proof, what do you think theorems are? Statements that need to be proven. Exactly right, okay? We are not, when you talk to somebody, like if you talk to your parents, you talk to somebody a little bit older, you talk about geometry, you say, what was the worst thing about geometry? They would probably say the proofs. Okay, because a lot of teachers in the past even today, really, really dwell on proofs. It's not that it's a bad thing. I just don't think right now in high school it's quite as important as I used to think it was. Okay, there's a lot more important things for me that I want to cover that we're not gonna deal with proofs that much. There is one section we'll do a little bit of proofs on, okay, but not a whole lot. Yes. It is. How's that? Is that better? Okay, good. Yes, ma'am. The definition of a what? Oh, number 4. It's just a statement that needs to be proven, okay? So it's a statement that needs to be proven. It's a geometry statement that needs to be proven. Sometimes postulates can also be called axioms. You'll see that. Sometimes, most of the time, you'll see postulates. So with all that said, I'm running out of time because we did all that homework stuff at the beginning. Now, this is all in your book, so I'm going to go pretty quick. I only got 5 more minutes, okay? I'm going to go pretty fast, but it is in your book. But let me just explain it. So don't even write these down right now, okay? When you get home and you do your homework, write these down in your notes, okay? But right now, don't write them down because we don't have much time. Let's take a look at some of these postulates. This first one's called the expansion postulate. They even number it. See that P? What do you think that P stands for? These are called the incidents what? What do you think the P stands for? Very good. Okay. 1.3. Why do you think it's 1.3? Very good. See the section? We're in 1.3. Okay? Just showing you where these come from. And why do you think it's 0.1, then 0.2, then 0.3? This is the first one. That's exactly right. Okay? All right. You guys got it? All right. It's not that exciting. Settle down. So here we go. The first one says this: a line contains at least 2 points. That's a postulate. We just accept that's true. Okay? We have a line. Remember to name a line, you name it with 2 points. Okay? We just accept that as true. All right? It says a plane has 3, look at this word, non-collinear points. That's one of the definitions that we did. So here's a plane right here. By the way, what is the name of this plane? P, right there. So it's plane P, and it says it must contain at least 3 non-collinear points. That means 3 points that are not all on the same line, right? So give me 3 points that are not on the same line. A and B are on the same line, but what's the third one? Say it. C. Okay, now D is not on the plane, though, is it? Okay, but A, B, and C, they're on the same plane, but they're not on the same line. That means you have a plane. Okay? Space, the word space. That means you have 3 points on a plane, but then you have a 4th point that's not on that plane. All right? And what would that point be? Point D, way up here. I didn't even notice it. Okay? Enough of that. Let's look at the next one. A line. Any 2 points in space lie in exactly one line. So look, I could take a point here and a point here. That came 2 minutes quick. That was too, well, my clock's off. I got to check that. So watch this. A point here and a point here. If I connect them, that's a line. Okay? That's basically what that's saying. I'll tell you what, we'll finish this up tomorrow, and I'll give you a lot of class time tomorrow to start working on the homework. Okay? So no homework tonight.